Hello and welcome to Tina and Karen Do the Tube. I am Karen.
Tina's here. Second week in a row.
Yeah, you're starting to have a little more consistency to your schedule, I guess.
I like it. Hopefully next Sunday too.
Maybe. Hopefully.
Yeah, what this new hire at our work hopefully is giving me some more free time. Although it still doesn't feel that way. But
Is he working out?
oh yeah, we just brought in Lauren.
Oh, just Lauren. He's going to be
Yeah.
more hours, just non-game time hours. Okay.
Shipping and covering the front 4 days a week.
I like that guy. That guy's fun. All right, that's
Everyone
good for
likes
you.
Lauren.
Everyone likes him. So, anyways, quick kind of housekeeping note for everyone. If you're watching this video and you enjoy the content, please hit the like button and subscribe. I don't know if that helps, maybe because we don't say it often enough. That's why no one's subscribing or liking our videos, or the truth is, just no one's watching it.
If you hate our videos, please comment that you dislike them.
Actually, if you hate the videos, please subscribe yourself because I'll take a hate watch for sure.
Hate watch.
If there's someone out there who I don't care. You have real complaints with how Tina and I do our show. Come on and we'll talk with you. I don't care who we talk to. But the good news is we are growing. We've had 3 new subscribers in the last month. So, yeah, I know. That seems like a big deal for a small channel like ours.
We don't have as many subscribers as I have friends in real life.
That's good. All right.
Do you want to explain your moniker this week, Karen? It's been an ongoing theme that you change your
Let's go, Karen.
title below.
Do you want to know?
Yeah. Usually it's been, a little bit more
Topical.
topical. Yeah. What's up with this week's?
This one's topical. I'm sure you know. Do you know?
No, I don't.
No, you don't know? You don't know Let's
No.
Go Brandon?
No. What's that?
Oh, okay. I'll send you a link to the whole article, but it's a new meme. And
Bring it up. Let's talk about it on the podcast.
You want to talk about Let's Go Brandon?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Know Your Meme. I don't know if you're going to want to talk about this one, but let's do it anyways.
All right.
Let's go Brandon.
Is this like the best Wikipedia for memes here?
This is actually Know Your Meme. It's a good website for all things memes. Let's go Brandon.
What?
Okay, before we actually get into the whole thing, I didn't want to talk about this because it's a little political.
Okay.
Okay, so there's been an ongoing thing at college football and sporting events where people chant, "Fuck Joe Biden."
We just made a jersey, a Texas Tech one that said "Fuck Joe Biden 69." The other guys refused
69.
to make it, and I was like, yeah, "I'll make it."
69, that's great. No, but there's I can show you a montage of people all across the country at football stadiums, sporting events, just chanting "Fuck Joe Biden," and this is a very funny one. And now people are starting to chant "Let's go Brandon" instead because this guy is a Brandon Brown, I think. I'm not exactly 100% sure what his last name is. He's a NASCAR driver. He won his first ever race, and the crowd started chanting "Fuck Joe Biden."
And this is his reaction?
No. The NBC sports person who was interviewing Brandon during his first ever career win, the crowd just starts chanting "Fuck Joe Biden," and
I didn't know this was a thing at all.
It is a thing.
I feel like I would have heard of it.
Well, I mean, but you're not really plugged into that sort of scene.
True.
Yeah.
I choose to believe that these are just bleeding heart liberals that, really didn't like the moderate choice of Joe Biden.
Oh, really? You consider Joe Biden a moderate,
That's the disbelief I like to live in.
You think Joe Biden's a moderate?
I would say he's more on the moderate scale from the choices that I liked.
Oh, I would
personally
disagree, but that's a huge another discussion. But anyway, so the NBC Sports were actually interviewing him, and you could hear everyone chant "Fuck Joe Biden" in the background, and the NBC reporter says you can hear them lending your support for you, chanting "Let's go Brandon." Biggest cover and most obvious bullshit you've ever heard, because anyone with 2 ears could basically hear it. So let's see if we can come up with the original video. Here.
Thank you to all of our partners. Oh my God, it's just such an unbelievable moment.
Brandon, you also told me, as you can hear the chants from the crowd, let's go, Brandon. Brandon, you told me you were going to kind of hang back those first two stages and just watch and...
Did you hear "Let's Go, Brandon" at all?
No.
Right. So people have been chanting "Let's Go, Brandon" as code for "Fuck Joe Biden."
Okay.
All right.
More PC approach.
Just sort of
Politically correct approach.
It's not even politically correct. It's sort of mocking the media who basically have to run cover for Joe Biden on a constant basis. It's sort of a 2-level metaphysical joke. Not metaphysical, but meta. It's a meta joke because at least anyone who's slightly right of center believes that the media is incredibly left-wing biased. Basically means that they have to dive on a grenade in order to protect Joe Biden at all costs.
That's true.
All right, cool. All right. But anyway, enough politics. Let's move on to something a little less political and talk about how Jon Gruden doesn't like Joe Biden.
What? I think the sad part is, like, we should be able to make fun of Joe Biden. Like, we made fun of all our presidents before this.
Well, you can't make fun of a Democrat, though.
Of course not.
Well, you can talk about how cool they are.
They're so sensitive.
Well, you can talk about how cool they are or how smart they are.
How much he loves, to fondle,
Well, I like the jokes about how he's kind of a creeper, but or how his brain doesn't work. But of course, we should be able to make fun of presidents and politicians, but that's not how some people in this country feel. You can't hurt the cause. Anyways, moving on. So this was the lead story we're actually supposed to talk about. This is probably one of the biggest stories definitely the biggest story in sports, probably one of the bigger stories in the overall culture this last week has been Jon Gruden says, this is not the thing.
Says the F word.
Well, he says a lot of bad things in emails that he wrote to the Washington, at the time, Redskins, owner. Without having to say it out loud, he called Roger Goodell. Well, I can say this. I don't mind saying it. He called Roger Goodell a pussy.
They call him a.
He called him a. Okay, if you say it, then I could say it. Cool, that's cool.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
I'm just repeating what he said.
I know. We're just quoting. We're quoting the man. This is just accurate news reporting. Plus, Tina's a progressive, so if he gets to say it, I get to say it. Fuck.
Okay. But he didn't just stop at Goodell, right?
No. He also hates Joe Biden and the players, the union president, who I don't know his name. I think it's DeMaurice Smith.
Yeah. I think is he still currently the players union president?
I'm not sure, but at the time,
I think he is.
Is he? So,
yeah.
He made a lot of comments. I don't know which one's the worst. I think you probably could maybe argue the comments he made about the Players Association president was the worst, because the rest of it I wasn't too bothered by, to be honest. It just seems like the kind of language that a football coach would use.
Yeah, I mean, is this really any surprise after hearing the kind of crazy stuff he says just on air and just seeing him on the sideline beat red?
Right. And also, just so we're clear, a lot of prominent, I don't know what you want to say, black people came out in support of him. Most notably Tony Dungy, who worked with Gruden and said, like, in the entire time I knew him, he didn't strike me as a racist. So, but he did make a comment, quite infamously now, about the size of the Players Association's lips, who Gruden said was a comment on how he thought he was a liar. And he's just, but I don't know how much you want to believe that or not. Either way. Question, do you think Gruden is a racist?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, should we define racism as like a yes or no, or more of like on the spectrum? Like, he might not be racist now, but when he's in his car yelling at the black person that just cut him off,
Do you know Bill Burr?
Yeah.
Bill Burr's got a great bit about like racism. He talks about racism a lot, but like there's a great bit about like real racism is subtle. I don't know if maybe we could react to this video. It'd be great because I love Bill Burr. But he's like people like he talked about how like there's a bunch of movies out there that are just the white guilt movies about how white people should feel bad, and he says like they made a movie about the first all black swim team, and he's like, quite honestly, I don't give a shit. It's like at that point, like who cares? It's a recreational activity. Who gives a shit? And then basically he pointed out like he's like real racism is subtle. You look behind your shoulders, just make sure the room is clear, and then you wait to like say what you're gonna say. You know what I think?
I had someone do that to me, but it was about politics. They were in the store and they were talking about, kneeling during the anthem, and he like looked both ways, and it's like, oh yeah, and those players really shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. Well, you got the funny thing is just like, okay, so actually, this was actually revealed in the emails too. Did you hear that part?
Yeah, I've only kind of just the news I've gotten from this is just from other people talking about it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, one of the things that Gruden's emails revealed is that like him and Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington Redskins, were both complaining about Kaepernick and the kneeling protests. I think
happened in 20, or was this later on?
This was later on. This was later on because it was like 2016 or something. But Jon Gruden apparently said something along the lines of, "We got people getting suspended in this league for taking certain amino acids, but we can't suspend people for this bullshit." Is I think what he said.
Oh,
and then Dan Snyder.
Gruden said that, or was that Goodell?
No. I don't know where Roger Goodell stands on some of these issues, but like most of these emails have been private emails between Dan Snyder and Jon Gruden.
Okay.
No, and Jon Gruden's no fan of Roger Goodell for sure. But, I looked into this a little bit more because I talked with a lot of my coworkers about this story because it's news. It's the talking point, plus we're all football fans. And, the opinion ranges from he's an idiot, but not because he said what he said, but because he put it in writing. And
yeah, he put it in email form.
I know, but like cancel culture, you don't know that like 10 years later something's gonna resurface like this.
It's true. Some of these emails literally happened 10 years ago.
Right. And once again, it's not language that would surprise anyone who's played football.
Mm-hmm.
This is kind of language you get yelled at you constantly. Now, I didn't play football. You did, so maybe you could actually offer some more clarification. But do you think what the language, specifically words like pussy, queer, is too out of place for football?
I mean, I think we should probably get rid of the word.
Oh, I'm not talking about should we get rid of it or not. I'm saying, like, is this out of character for football?
Oh, is it out of character?
Yeah, like, is this, like,
no.
surprising? Is this, like...
maybe for, like, 2011 and maybe, like, the professional leagues, but...
Well, don't you think the professional leagues would be a lot like high school or college? Whatever rattles someone, because I heard this there's a great podcast all about this, how like coaching women's sports and coaching men's sports is all different. Like
I can imagine, yeah.
Right, because like women need to like this came out after, when we had the first college female kicker?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was I can't remember the team.
I can't remember what team either, but I remember hearing about it.
But it was a podcast, and she basically went into the locker room and rallied, why aren't we supporting one another? Why aren't we riling each other up, saying go team, go all this, like, and like the podcast always said, like, coaching guys and coaching women is completely different. Like, the way to get a guy motivated is to really make him feel like shit that he played bad, and now he's going to go out and kill. It's not like...
Whereas with women, you have to be more...
a little more... I'm not going to say sensitive, but you got to... I don't know. What do you think would be the major difference between coaching men and women?
Just the communication style, obviously.
Right. Okay, but you can't... That's broad. Ignore that. Okay. Do you think women would respond to the same sort of like put downs that men do?
Not maybe motivationally.
Well, you played high school football, so let me ask you, like, did you ever hear, maybe to you or to a fellow teammate, a coach ever say something that you thought really was over the line, or at least maybe how did you ever hear a coach put a player down for missing a tackle or for missing a catch or something like that?
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't think I had the most like vulgar football experience. I don't remember a whole lot of like swearing outside the usual, F-bombs and whatnot.
Right. Different F-bomb, right?
Yeah, there was one coach that liked to swear more than others, but he was a fine dude.
Fine dude. That's the F word, fine dude.
Of course, it's the defensive coach.
Okay. I don't know who that would have been.
You remember Epstein, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I can picture him.
He liked to swear a lot.
Oh yeah, I could totally picture that because he was my math teacher. So
yeah.
I know I could picture what he'd be like in a locker room or on the sideline. I could totally picture that because he actually pulled me out of a class one time.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he thinks I was.
When did you get pulled out of a class for?
Oh, I got pulled out of class often, but this one because he thought I was being a disrespectful little shit, and he told me outside the class. I think almost verbatim those words. He's like, because, well,
the two classes we had together, you never got pulled out of.
We had Epstein. Did we? You weren't in Epstein's class. I had psychology with you, and I don't know what other class we had together.
The gym freshman year.
Oh yeah,
but we didn't really know each other then.
No, I was in Epstein's math class, and I'm not. This is a humble brag, but a lot of the times I would finish my work really early. And then I would just bullshit with my friends in class, and I'd make a lot of noise. And Epstein said something like, "Just try to be quiet" or something, and I talked back to him. And then he said, "Hey!" And then he took me out of class and called me a disrespectful little shit, and I shouldn't. He's like, I can't remember exactly word for word what he said, but he did pull me outside and told me just to shut the hell up.
No, he probably wouldn't even do that if he had to bring a girl outside. He wouldn't say.
No, of course not. I also had Jägermeister with him afterwards. Not the same day. Later on, like when I was 21, I saw him at a bar one time, and like we had drinks together.
Yeah,
it was a weird experience.
How that happens.
Yeah, I know, right? That was a weird experience. But I guess we're not going over this article too much because we both know the story. For those who don't know the story, Jon Gruden got fired / resigned from the Las Vegas Raiders. He forced out because a lot of emails surfaced because they were investigating the Washington Redskins emails and not Jon Gruden's. This was all before he was the Raiders coach.
Yeah, this was leaked out from those emails.
And in the process, they found that Jon Gruden was, get this, kind of an un-PC dude.
Yeah, I mean... Again, I don't think we should be surprised that this language, especially in 10 years ago, was pervasive within the NFL.
Yeah. One thing, like I heard one of my coworkers brought up a good point, and I hadn't considered this. Queer is not a derogatory term, apparently, right? Because it's the LGBTQ community.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's derogatory, no.
It makes me think of The Office. There's the one scene where Michael Scott's saying, I would never, it was like, I would never call a retarded person a retard. You call your friends retards when they're acting retarded. Because it's true, because like really when you use the words queer, back then, it was never towards actual gay people. It was always towards your friends for acting gay.
Yeah.
I know it seems sort of splitting hairs, but it's a difference, right? It's not meant to put down actual gay people. It's meant to put down your friends.
Well, I think gay people kind of embrace the term, queer, unusual or, something like that.
And that was what one of my coworkers brought up the point. He said, like, it's funny, he's getting fired for saying derogatory terms, but it's also the appropriate term. So...
Do you think he should have been forced out for these emails?
No.
Do you think there was enough? Okay.
Well, because I don't think it's for one, it was before he was the Raiders coach. For two, I don't believe in cancel culture in general. I don't think you dig up things from the past because I can look back at what I was like in middle school and high school, and like we all said shit like this Did we know it was wrong at the time? I don't think so. I think we all just knew it was just like it was all in jest. It was all just bullshitting. Now, he insulted his commissioner. The most damning thing, I think, is sort of the racially charged comment about the Players Association president.
Yeah, especially for a league that's predominantly black.
Yeah, but I also don't think he's a racist. Do you think he's a racist?
I wouldn't say so, no. I think he's just got a acid tongue.
Okay. You brought up a good point about there's a spectrum of shit, right?
Yeah.
So let's, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you rate Gruden's racist comments? Does it go full-blown racist, or is it just sort of racial undertones?
I'll go
10 being Ku Klux Klan.
I'll go 6. Okay, over the line, but
okay.
Not too far over.
All right. And 4 is what? I got black friends. I can say it. No.
Look at both shoulders.
Yeah. 4 for me would be I got black friends. I'm allowed to say it.
Okay.
And 10 being full Ku Klux Klan member, fucking all that. But
all right,
no, I agree that there are like scales to things. So like I've often told people like I have a 3-tiered approach to racism, and the first two tiers
pyramid.
It's a pyramid, yeah. And the first 2 tiers you really don't need to concern yourself with. The top tier is the one you do need to concern yourself with. I consider the first tier of racism just be like implicit biased. It's unconscious bias. And you hear about this a lot, but it's unconscious. You don't do it actively. It's like John prefers company with white people, but he doesn't discriminate at all. He just happens to be around white people more often. It's not intentional, right?
Yeah.
And that's just unconscious bias. I don't think we need to concern ourselves with that because it's just a familiarity bias. I read about this. It's like, no, it's like you have a preference for familial bias. So really, like when you're a baby, this gets ingrained in you really early. When you're a baby, the person who you sort of social bond the most with is your mother. Now, you feel comfort, you feel secure with your parents. So, yeah, anyone who resembles your parents is going to have a more positive view in your mind. And 99% of the time, your parent is going to be the same race as you. Well, 100% of the time.
Does it make me racist if I prefer watching white people porn over black people porn? Or is that a familiar implicit bias?
I would say that's...
I don't say I hate it, but...
Okay, well, let me go to the second tier, because the second tier is a little mixed. So the second tier is you believe certain things about groups, but you still judge everyone as an individual.
Okay.
So I'd say this. John thinks black people are, let's say, loud. That's a very common stereotype. But John meets Jamal, and he puts aside what he believes about black people and just chooses to get to know Jamal on a personal level.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he takes what he thinks of a set of people and imposes it on him specifically?
No. The second tier is just like I believe certain things about groups in general, but I still am willing to treat everyone as an individual. So like,
gotcha. So
maybe he believes that I don't know, Chinese people are bad drivers or something. I don't know. That's typical, right? But he meets his friend Cho, and like. He says, Cho asks, can I borrow your car? Well, I've known Cho. He seems like a good guy. I'll let him borrow my car. I don't know.
Gotcha.
But he might believe it. But in the third tier, the top tier, this is the ones people that you actually have to concern yourself. It's actual racist to me. People who believe things about groups and they're not willing to learn anything about an individual because of that group. It's like John hates black people because he thinks they're all criminals. He meets Jamal, and he's not even willing to get to know Jamal because Jamal is black.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the group of people we should concern ourselves with and say, like, okay, that's the kind of racism we need to vilify and concern ourselves with. The bottom 2 tiers, I'm like, I don't care.
Okay.
As long as you're treating everyone on an individual basis, you're treating everyone based on their individual character. I don't care what you might have underneath.
All right. So this is like the upside down pyramid here. The further you go down, the worse.
Yeah, sure. Why not? You could draw the pyramid however you like.
Okay.
But would you agree? Like, do you think there's tiers to racism? Right? It's not all the same.
Yeah, it's not like black and white. No.
So if you believed a certain thing about black people, but you don't care, and you still treat everyone as an individual, are you a racist? You don't watch black porn. Is that make you a racist?
I don't go out of my way to watch it, but if
yes,
occasionally I'm like, what's going on the others? No, I wouldn't say that's racist.
I might be revealing too much about myself, but fuck yeah, I'll watch black porn.
Oh.
Big booties.
I heard something recently about like how all black porn, like the scenarios are set up differently.
Really?
Like usually the girl is like more of a hooker type.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm watching, but then again, I don't want to get really into the weeds of what I fucking watch, but...
Okay.
Yeah, it's more hooker porn. Like, so what's the typical?
It's just more like hood stuff.
Okay.
Know?
What's the most typical white porn there is? Do you think?
Step porn.
Step porn. Yeah, that's what I thought. Stepmom
Probably.
or stepsister. Yeah. Oh, geez. Well, at least we both know it.
Was this always a popular thing? I don't remember it being that popular when I first started looking at porn.
How much do you know about porn when you first started watching porn?
Not a lot.
So there you go. But yeah, I think it's just a common fantasy. I mean, I don't know. To some people, that's interesting. It's kind of forbidden fruit sort of thinking, right?
Okay, yeah.
But that doesn't turn me on. I don't care if it turns you on or anyone else on, but like the idea of doing your stepsister, I have a stepsister who is attractive, and I've never had that fantasy.
You have a stepsister? Oh yeah, you do have a stepsister.
Two.
I get that.
I have two.
Two of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a stepbrother who's a dipshit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Nah, I actually still kind of.
I actually haven't heard you talk about them in a while.
Yeah. No, I still like the guy. He's really messed up his life, and it wouldn't bother me so much, but he's got a kid.
Oh yeah.
And that's where it bothers me a bit. Anyways, but he's got his own demons he's working out. Anyway,
family problems.
Step family problem. Yeah. Anyway, but Jon Gruden, you don't think do you think he should have been fired for what he said in 2011? It says right here 2011.
Yeah.
For the record, it's not. I want to point this out. It's not an uncommon opinion. I recently looked this up. Roger Goodell's got a 28% approval rating and a 60% disapproval rating. So nobody likes Goodell.
It's not the comments he made on Goodell that were controversial.
Okay. He also called Joe Biden a pussy, and Joe Biden's approval rating is like 40%. So there's a lot of people who don't like him. I know. Maybe it's the Michael Sam comments.
Yeah, I think they should have fired him because they would have just gotten so much backlash and continued backlash that it would have become a problem for the league.
But do you think
from a league standpoint, I think it was the right decision?
Well, I mean, they got a huge backlash for the kneeling and they didn't act on anything.
Yeah, or they didn't act fast enough.
Well, they didn't do anything.
Yeah. And again, this took 2 leaks for this to happen. The first one, they just kind of ignored.
Well, no, they didn't ignore. They expected him to make a comment, and he apologized, and he explained that his position was he was calling him a liar, but he can see how it was racist, and he apologized. And then the second set of leaks came out that he called Goodell a pussy. He called Goodell saying he's trying to, quote, queer up the league, and called him a or something. Used a lot of vulgar language for sure, but to me, things that aren't uncommon to hear in football, especially back then, before sort of the modern culture and morality police, language police, I should say. These people aren't moral. But in general, I don't think he should have been fired for it because he didn't do anything wrong. He just said some things that were un-PC.
Do you think maybe there's a little bit of conspiracy here? Like maybe Goodell and Demora Smith saw the emails and wanted him out? Or maybe Mark Davis thought his contract was way overblown and wanted to find a good reason to get rid of him?
Well, that was what I thought originally. I thought, like, this guy has not delivered on his huge contract. Like, he hasn't made the playoffs once.
$100 million
I know.
Coaching contract.
So you could just make the argument he wasn't a very good coach, and they were looking for a reason to get rid of him. That being said, I think it's much more likely that they were putting pressure on – the league was putting pressure on the Raiders to say, hey, you got to fire this guy or we're going to hurt you. And so they basically took that message to him and said, if you don't resign, we're going to have to fire you. That's what I think happened. I think the league came to the Raiders organization and says, like, if you don't fire this guy, we're going to have to put pressure on you. We're going to hurt you. And they, in turn, put pressure on Gruden to resign. I mean, that just happens. That's cancel culture. That's the age we live in. Something you said 15 years ago, even if it's something you don't believe now, can get you fired. And I don't like that. Do you like that? This is not accountability culture for the record.
Well,
it's not accountability.
There's the argument that people don't really get canceled unless you go to jail.
Well, if you lose your...
The only exception I can make maybe is Kevin Spacey because he never went to jail, but...
Well, no, that's pedophilia. That's much different. Cancel culture is, I think, the best definition of cancel culture is when you get fired or lose your job or lose your livelihood for something that's not true. Do you think Jon Gruden's a racist?
No, I don't think he's a racist.
Okay, then he got fired for something that's not true.
You don't want to call it consequence culture?
It's accountability culture, and no, because like his biggest crimes is he said some dirty words.
I just think it's funny. Cancel culture is canceling its own name, and in a very roundabout way.
Anyway. I don't think he should have gotten fired, but and I think that like at least 60% of people out there think he shouldn't have gotten fired, but I think it's probably more than that. But here we are.
Well, here we go.
A very noisy minority makes all the rules.
Let's wait for some more juicy emails to come out.
Well, actually, Derek Carr did say that. Derek Carr, I don't know if this came out of just Derek Carr feeling resentful that his coach got fired and no one else got fired, or just he just generally thinks that people should. Did you know about this? Derek Carr says he thinks he wants more investigation into more emails. Everyone should get investigated.
Why single out just Jon Gruden? But the NFL is not going to want that. They want to wrap this up.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, I think there's a part of me that thinks Derek Carr is trying to say nothing Jon Gruden did is that out of ordinary.
Oh, you think he's trying to say like,
if you're going to fire my guy, my coach, how many other people deserve to get fired if this is the standard? You said something bad 10 years ago, therefore you deserve to get fired now.
Yeah. More of like a domino effect.
And once again, something that was not really that controversial at the time.
Yeah. Well, we just got to wait and see here.
Right. Okay, we're moving on. Next story. So that was the biggest news story of the week. This rest of the stuff is going to be more lighthearted. New Zealand Council ends... probably going to need to refill my drink, actually. You want to pause for a quick second?
I guess the Seahawks mounting a little bit of a comeback here.
What'd you say? Oh,
I guess the Seahawks mounting a little bit of a comeback here.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't a big deficit. It was only 2 touchdowns.
But the way they played in the first half made it look like
14-17.
They weren't going to make any comeback at all.
At this point, I'm not rooting for a mediocre season. I just wanted us to get a high draft pick, which never helps us anyways. All right, so here's our next story. This is from The Guardian. New Zealand Council ends contract with Wizard after 2 decades of service. Now, doesn't that need more context, don't you think?
I don't think it does.
All right.
I let me guess why this is. 20 years ago, 2001, It's around the same time that Lord of the Rings was starting to get popular again. Set in New Zealand, where it was filmed. Why not have a wizard mascot?
We'll find out. All right, the
Okay.
official wizard of New Zealand, perhaps the only state-appointed wizard in the world, has been cast from the public
Perhaps.
payroll, spelling the end to a 23-year legacy. Okay, so 23 years ago, that was 1999, 1998?
Yeah.
Before Lord of the
You got
Rings.
me- You got me there.
All right. The wizard, whose real name is Ian Brackenbury Chanel, 88, had been contracted to Christchurch City Council for the past 2 decades to promote the city through acts of wizardry and the other wizard-like services. At a cost
This
of
is $16,000 a year.
and he had been paid a total of $368,000. Your tax dollars right at work. What is
Wow, does it
$16,000
really add up
make
to
out to?
368 after 20 years? I guess so. Yeah. Huh.
What is $16,000 broken down by hour? We're gonna.
I want to know how often he was performing these services.
All right, we got $16,000. Why can't I fucking type? $16,000 divided by the average 40-hour work week, 52 weeks a year, so $307 a week divided by 40. That didn't work out. Okay, answer. Divided by 40-hour
Might
work
need
week.
some wizardry here.
He's making minimum wage. $7.60. I don't know what the New Zealand dollar is worth, but $7.69 an hour for being a wizard.
He was 55 at the time he started.
Dude, good math.
be
No,
fair,
that's
he
60. No, 65.
65? Oh, yeah.
It's a good
you're right.
retirement gig.
Yeah.
Being a wizard. The wizard who
Get a
was
minimum wage.
The wizard who was born of England, he's not even a fucking native, began performing arts of wizardry and entertainment in public spaces shortly after arriving in New Zealand in 1976. Oh, he's a migrant. Fucking go back to your own country. When the council originally tried to stop him, the public protest. In 1982, the New Zealand Art Gallery Director Association said he had become a living work of art. And then in 1990, the Prime Minister at the time, Mike Moore, asked that he consider becoming the Wizard of New Zealand, as one naturally does. What would you?
I love this.
What would you think if you found out that Seattle, not revealing too much, your home city, not home city, yeah, your home city, had a wizard on the payroll? What would you think about that?
I would.
I guess.
Sure. Why not?
Sure.
I-
What if it was a six-figure job?
$16,000 a year, they're wasting millions more on,
I know, but
not solving the homeless crisis.
they're not going to. They want to increase it. But anyways, what if you found out it was a six-figure job?
A six-figure job?
Let's imagine that he got a six-figure salary for being the official wizard of Seattle.
He might have to start performing wizardry acts at that point.
The question is, what is a wizardry act? What would you expect him to do for the city?
Turn the Seahawks season around.
Ooh, good call. Good call. It's still at a 2-3 season so far.
Yeah.
It's
looking
not
that
over.
great.
And we
Okay.
might end up winning this game, which is a 3-3 season. I don't think we're going to win the. There's too many good teams in the NFL. Let me tell you something. Bucks, Bills. What do you think?
Bucks?
Buccaneers.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Milwaukee for some reason. Yeah, I like it. I think the Bills are on the hot streak to get to the.
They've had 2
Super Bowl?
shutouts in the last 4 weeks, and they're averaging over 35 points a game now. That's.
They got it on offense and defense.
Yep. I think they are in the top. They're number one. I can't remember the exact numbers, but they're in the top 5 in both offense and defense, which is killer. And but that's currently the current betting odds favorites is Bucks Bills, but I don't think it's going to be the Bills. I still believe in the Ravens, and I don't know. The Chargers kind of excite me a bit. That Herbert guy is
Justin
really
Herbert?
good. Yeah, he's really
It's kind
good.
of flat today, but did they got to win?
That was against the Ravens, though. So that's my preseason Super Bowl pick was the Bucks and the Ravens. So got to keep that up.
All right.
Anyways, okay, so back on topic. Wizards. All right. The wizard who was born in... I read that part. When the council originally tried to stop him, the public protest. Why? In 1982, the New Zealand Art Gallery Directors Association said he had become a living work of art. And then in 1990, the Prime Minister at the time, Mike Moore, asked that he consider becoming the Wizard of New Zealand. I think I already read that part, but I'm concerned that your wizardry is not the disposal of the entire nation, Moore wrote in his official letterhead. Brilliant. Great picture.
Does anyone look more like a wizard than him?
But you can look like a wizard just by growing your hair out long and growing your beard out and being old and wearing a hat. I suggest, therefore, that you should urgently consider my suggestion that you become the Wizard of New Zealand, Antarctica,
not just New Zealand,
Antarctica, and relevant offshore areas. That's weird how they do divide up Antarctica, though, right? It's like
a pie chart, isn't it?
It is. They divide up Antarctica officially. Like you got Chile, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. All the southern hemisphere gets a piece of the pie, and somehow the United States does. Of course.
Because it's the United States.
Well, they do that with the Arctic Circle, too, with Russia and Canada and the United States. This is it. What do you call it? It's just international waters, or it's...
Yeah, just some agreement that, everyone has a little bit at stake.
Would you ever want to go to Australia? Not Australia. Well, probably. Antarctica?
Sure, why not? I don't think there's much to see there, but...
Are you kidding me?
There's
Giant glaciers and ice mountains? That's fucking amazing. And, how many people actually go there?
That's the thing. I think you have to win a lottery to get even on a, tour boat to even get close to there.
Sadly...
Or become a scientist.
Yeah, that too. I found... back years ago, before I was married, before I was even settled in my job, I found a research assistant job online for Antarctica. You'd basically, not research assistant, you basically agree to do 6 months out of the year. You go do a tour of service in Antarctica. You could be a cook, you could be a janitor, you could be a lot of things. But just to be part of the team, just to spend 6 months in Antarctica, I really wanted to do it because I have a fascination with the poles in general, the extremes of humanity. And because I would want to know what it's like to basically live in a conditions that are, I don't know, inhuman. Inhospitable, yeah. And I've been to the furthest south I think I'll ever be. I've been to Ushuaia and I've taken a tour to Cape Horn, and now I want to get to Longyearbyen.
Oh, you want to go to that Bear Gun Island?
I don't know about that, but
you legally have to carry around a gun because of the danger of polar bears.
Oh yes, so it's the northernmost settlement in the world, permanent settlement, of 1,000 people. Longyearbyen, it's in Svalbard, in northern, islands of Scandinavia, Norway.
Yeah.
So, I've kind of just have a fascination with the poles, the Arctic and the Antarctic. So, I think that'd be cool.
You've always kind of liked the cold weather.
I know. I've always been that way. But it doesn't interest you as much, does it?
I like to explore. I'm reading something at the bottom of this article about why he may have been lost his service.
Who?
The wizard guy. Why it's ended.
All right, let's keep going. Since then, he was performed in Christchurch, rain danced in New Zealand, $16,000 to do rain dancing, and Australia during droughts. How could it hurt, honestly, right? What could it hurt? And Australia during droughts, and was awarded the Queen's Service Medal in 2009, Queen's birthday honors.
Oh.
But he was also encountered controversy with off-color comments about women.
Back to cancel culture.
We're back to fucking cancel culture. Yeah. Where are we as a society where the Wizard of New Zealand has to lose his job? Because he's being
88-year-old wizard made some
off-color comments about women. I'm really curious what it was, but when the Wizard of New Zealand's job is at stake, man, no one's safe. No one is safe in this cancel culture.
Let's see what he said.
All right. Gonna go out on a limb and say that the Wizard being canceled after 23 years is fine. Well, fuck you, Anna. I don't like it when anyone loses their job, but let's hear. In April screen of Channel 3's comedy Current Affairs show New Zealand Today, hosted by Guy Williams, the wizard said he'd like to tease women by telling them they were devious and said they use cunning to get men who are thick. Wait, how is that controversial?
I don't know.
That's a pretty common sentiment, right, about women.
They're
like,
using their, witchiness, to get stupid men.
Is that how he views the world? Since he's a wizard, he thinks all women are witches. I just watched Harry Potter earlier today. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Is that a controversial statement to make? Honestly,
Apparently in New Zealand.
Well, were you expecting something worse?
They use their cunning to get men who are thick. Jon Gruden wouldn't have been fired for saying that.
Jon Gruden. I don't know, man. What if he said the pussies use their cunning to get men who are faggots?
I don't know.
His words, not mine. Sense. Not mine. Jesus. Oh my God. All right. You can't even quote people, do you know? I heard a girl in England, who got arrested for using the N-word because she was quoting a rap song in the video.
Oh, really? Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. They don't have freedom of speech in England like we have here.
Yeah, different laws. Same with Canada, right?
Oh. And Canada's going that way too. I love women. I forgive them all the time. I've never struck one yet. Never strike a woman. Yeah, why even by yet? That's a good point. I read right past that. Why put the word yet in there? I've never struck one yet. Well, he's 88 years old. I think if a 90-year-old man strikes you, it's not a big deal. No. Never strike a woman because they bruise too easily is the first thing, and they'll tell the neighbors and their friends. Yeah, the second part is a little
And then
damning.
you're in big trouble.
The second part's a little damning. It's like, I never hit women because I think they might tell.
Yeah, if anything, the apology sounds a little bit more.
Yeah, the apology sounds worse than the actual statement, right?
Yeah.
All right. The council said it had sent their wizard a letter thanking him for his services to Christchurch over the past decades and informing him they were closing the book on the contract. A council spokesperson, said McClendon, maybe I got that right, added that it was a difficult decision, but the wizard would forever be a part of Christchurch's history. Yes. He looks like a jolly fellow, honestly.
Yeah.
Who cares
like a happy guy.
Who cares if he has old school views about gender? The city is embarking on new tourism and promotional direction. I think a wizard is better for tourism and promotional, whatever you're planning. Showcase a vibrant, diverse, modern city that is attractive to residents, domestic and international visitors, new businesses, and skilled migrant workers, she said. So they think the wizard was concerning to migrant workers?
I think they just want a more inclusive, completely neutral mascot.
In other words, lame.
Do they not know that the best mascots are always the most controversial?
You ever watch Community?
I've seen bits of it.
Okay, you haven't actually seen the show. It's good, but it's a great show. But in the first season, they the community college Greendale, which they'll go to. We're trying to pick out the official mascot, but they didn't want to be exclusive about because they came up with the term they're the Greendale human beings, and then they came up with a mascot that could not be so racially neutral. It's so.
Did you hear that one story about that celebrity that said we should cancel the term aliens because it's derogatory towards aliens? Like immigrants or actual aliens?
It's
towards immigrants.
No, I hadn't. Who said that?
I think it was Demi Lovato. I'm not quite sure.
Fuck her. No one gives a shit what she thinks, anyways. Who is Demi Lovato? I've heard the name.
She's a Disney Channel singer that it was popular when she was younger, then had some issues later on in life, and now she's had a rough time the last few years.
Well, the name sounds familiar, but I don't know her off the top of my. I guess I'll look her up really quick.
You might recognize her. I don't
there
know.
it is. Demi Lovato, not Demi Moore. Oh, jeez. Oh my God. She used to be pretty attractive.
She had to go back to rehab for doing, I don't know.
Why the hell is Neil deGrasse Tyson in there?
Aliens have no feelings. This is about that article.
Aliens have no feelings. Neil deGrasse Tyson tells Demi Lovato aliens have no feelings.
How does he know that?
He's like one of the world's most premier astronomers. I think he would know.
Maybe they're very empathetic.
Oh my God. I just gotta say that she used to be more attractive, but this like a lot of these short hair. Like, look at this girl. She's beautiful. Now look at this girl.
I guess she's gained some weight.
It's not the weight; it's the hairdo, man. She's. Look at that! Oh my God.
Oh yeah, that's another controversial thing she had.
She apologized after slamming frozen yogurt shop dietary options.
She got a lot of backlash for that.
It's a real shame. Look at this woman. She's beautiful. But
just another one of those, young celebrities that, had a difficult time adjusting to adult life.
You mean all the pedophiles touching her?
Maybe.
Well, it's Hollywood, man. It's filled with pedophiles. You kidding me? Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, I don't know if that happened to her, but...
I don't know. I don't trust that any child star had a normal childhood. Obviously.
Jason Bateman made it out all right.
Was Jason Bateman in... What was he in?
I forget what he was in, but I know he was a child...
Neil Patrick
popular
Harris.
Child. Yeah, sure.
Or maybe he was an unfuckable kid.
Maybe.
I fully condemn the joke I just made.
Okay.
I don't think that was in any way good.
Full revert.
I already regret that. What wasn't it? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where Mac got jealous that he wasn't molested. You remember that episode, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Where Charlie was molested and Mac wasn't, and he got jealous.
He wanted that, for the clout.
Well, that's one of my favorite episodes of It's Always Sunny too, because Charlie got molested and Mac was extremely jealous that he wasn't lovable, or in that way. So he basically just tried to get molested. So he goes to the gym coach teacher and tries to come on to him. It's fucking crazy. Oh, that's a hilarious show. Anyways, the Wizard is a well-known face. I'm gonna skip that part. The Wizard said he would keep up his regular appearances at Christchurch Arts Center, chatting to tourists and locals. The center is hosting an exhibition of his life this month, which is supported by the council. Okay, so it doesn't seem like he was fully canceled. They still support him. They just don't want to pay him anymore.
Yeah, they say, okay, here's a little, parting, gift.
This is the one positive message, other than his extreme sexism for saying women use their what did he say?
Use
his
their
cunning to get thick men, which is not controversial to me. When asked if he would,
the most controversial part is he hasn't hit a woman yet.
I swear to God, that was actually way worse than the actual comment. I have never struck a one yet. Brilliant catch there, Tina. All right. But anyways, when asked if he would curse the council over its decision, he said he preferred to give blessings. I give children happy dreams, general good health, and I want to make bureaucrats become more human.
I kind of like that.
I like that a lot.
Isn't that very humanizing just for your government to hire a useless position to...
Well, I mean, as far as useless positions, I'd rather my city have a wizard than the DOL.
He's an ambassador of goodwill.
I would rather, when I go into the Department of License and Title, meet this dude. You're looking for a title to your car? Well, let me cast a spray. That would be awesome.
Crypto ammo.
All right. Okay, this is a little bit darker news. California mother arrested for using a $4.9 million police shooting settlement to purchase guns for her son's gang.
Okay, that sounds strange.
Moving on. All right.
Why do you think this happened? Did the gang pressure her?
Well, no. I think she. Okay,
maybe because of the illegal shooting, they felt like they needed to arm up even more.
Go away. Okay, so I have a friend who grew up in Southern California, and all of his cousins were in gangs.
Okay.
I only point that out just because I'm trying to speak from a point of authenticity. I know what I'm talking about a little bit. A lot of the older parents and uncles, aunts have no idea that their kids are in gangs.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't know she was buying these guns for gang members?
I don't know. But like the way he puts it is like, no. He said all my cousins were in gangs and all my uncles and aunts basically had no idea. They just believed that their kids were good little saints. They were just good kids. They had no idea that they were in gangs. So I want to believe that has something to do with it. Because I'm saying, like, I have a friend who's in gang culture, Southern California, grew up in it, and he said all of his cousins were in gangs. And he said none of the parents knew anything about it. They all believed that their kids were probably going to church every Sunday for whatever. That's how I say that's how oblivious the parents can be.
Yeah, the naivety.
They want to believe their kids are all good, that they're not in gangs. But let's actually read the story. All right. Earlier this year, Christina Lopez received an almost $5 million settlement after the police killed her son in 2017. Now she's been arrested for allegedly buying guns for her son. I'm assuming other son.
Other son, yeah.
And the California gang he was a part of. The Fresno County Sheriff's Office revealed they've been after the Calwa gang for a few months now, after one of them murdered someone back in July. What started as a detectives at the crime scene where a 52-year-old man was shot and killed turned into identifying a stolen video and surveillance video of potential suspects. All right. Police were able to take the information to arrest an 18-year-old Richard Aguilar, good on you, of Fresno, California. Is Fresno Northern California or Southern? Central, okay. Not
Center Valley.
Okay. A SWAT team had to breach Aguilar's home because he barricaded himself inside, but he ended up surrendering. According to CBS, the murder of the 52-year-old man was a hit job ordered by a murder convict serving a lifetime sentence at Salinas Valley State Prison. All right. There's some questions.
Where does this come into her buying guns?
Not sure yet. What do you think about California's legal system, though? California has among the higher crime rates in the country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what?
I think so.
You remember how we covered that story on San Francisco's Cash for Criminals program?
Yeah, I love that story.
Yeah. Do you think California in general has a pro-criminal attitude?
I don't know what to make of that, really. Are they more lax? No, I don't think so.
They're not more lax?
I would definitely say they probably have more rules than maybe some other states.
What state do you think is the most lax on criminals? If you had to pick one, which state would you expect to be the most lax?
Okay, so like everything goes kind of
like, yeah. It's more, it's total rehabilitation and look the other way. No criminal justice, no put them in prison sort of attitude, I guess.
Oregon, maybe?
Because they legalize all drugs.
Possibly. They don't want to arrest a ton of people for drugs,
Right.
So.
Well, if I had to pick a state, it'd probably be California. That or Utah.
Okay.
For some reason.
More towards rehabilitation than just actual punishment.
Right. What do you think the purpose of criminal justice system is? Like, okay, so like, let's say punishment,
Make money.
Private prisons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but like, right. That aside, what do you think should be what should be the purpose of criminal justice? Is it
rehabilitation? Right.
Really?
That's the kind of idea is.
I would say rehabilitation is secondary.
Maybe in the U.S., not in Finland.
We covered that. That was good.
Yeah.
But no, not just like in terms of like I put punishment third, right? Mm-hmm. So punishment is third, rehabilitation is second. First is we have to house the more dangerous elements of society to protect the law-abiding citizens. It's not about punishing them. It's not about rehabilitating them. It's about let's keep the streets safe for the law-abiding citizens.
Okay, so keeping
housing the
public safe.
Yeah, public safety is number one for criminal justice, and then number two would be rehabilitation. Like if you can turn these criminals around so they don't want to commit crime anymore, great. I'm more for that than just let's put them away forever.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, having someone in jail for a life sentence doesn't seem to be helping public safety because he's ordering hits from the inside.
Well, that brings up the conversation about life imprisonment. Now, you're right, because this person was ordering hits. So that speaks to a higher problem in terms of just gang activity in prison. But the life sentence in general, what is your thoughts?
A life sentence?
No.
I think if you've broken enough, laws, you deserve. Or not. I'm wording this totally. If you did good, if you done bad enough, then the jail it is for you.
This is the official Alabama fucking podcast. If you done bad enough, no.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would. Okay, so you do agree with the life sentence?
I think and they're definitely for some people it's deserved.
You ever heard the statistic that like a life sentence is actually cheaper than capital punishment?
Than like the death sentence?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Yeah, because the appeals
of the
process.
Cost of the injection, right?
Well, it's not the injection; it's the appeals process. I think something about that. Like when you have a capital punishment, you appeal, and that costs way more in terms of litigation than just serving out a life sentence. The injection itself, I don't think is that costly.
I think I heard that it was expensive, but
Really?
I'm not as well versed in that.
Shit, I can inject bleach in a guy and he'll die.
But you have to do it humanely, though.
But it'll kill COVID. All right.
Along with everything else.
Yes, I'm good with everything else. All right. Police were able to take the information to arrest 18-year-old Richard Aguilar. I think I read that part. Mm-hmm. According to CBS, the murder of the 52-year-old man was a hit job, according by murder convict serving a life sentence. Oh, I read that part too. Authorities managed to make a total of 14 arrests and seized 12 different firearms, resulting of cracking down on Kawa gang, including a gang member's mother for supplying the guns. Do you think she knew or not? Okay, these are the pictures of the gang members, I guess. Look at this dude's haircut.
He's got a straight bowl cut.
Oh my god.
The kid right below him, the Grayson Williams, he's got an interesting cut too.
Hey, he looks like a...
Richard Aguilar even kind of has a little bowlish cut.
Yeah, but I'm still focused on this dude. This guy looks like he's in like a Mexican soap opera. That's a Arrested Development joke for anyone who's watched Arrested Development. But, okay. Dude, look at this fucking dude. These two. How did these two end up in the same gang as all these people? These guys are way older and they look way more intimidating. Jesse Aguilar,
maybe,
a.k.a. Paya.
They run things a little bit more.
All right.
Who knows?
Maybe. All right. In April of this year, the city of Fresno paid 42-year-old Christiana Lopez $4.9 million for the death of her son, Isaiah. Oh, God. Murrieta
Golding.
Golding. Jesus Christ. Half Mexican, half Jew. That sounded wrong, didn't it? Louis C.K.'s got a good bit on his special, hilarious, where like Jew is the derogatory term and the appropriate term in the same. It's just how you say it. It's like he's a Jew, or he's a Jew.
Yeah, isn't that funny? It's just the one word, the way you say it.
It's the way you say it. It becomes like a slur. It's great. All right. Yeah. He was 60 when he died. Separate from the gang members, 42-year-old Christina Lopez faces felony charges of conspiracy to provide firearms to a minor for the benefit of a street gang, conspiracy to provide a firearm to a gang member, and a child endangerment. So, all right. Given what I said earlier about the parents aren't really aware of what the kids are doing, would you think that this woman knew her kid was in a gang?
Definitely if she's giving guns to
But she did sue the county for $4.9 million.
That's true.
So she must have thought that her son was an innocent bystander in a conflict rather than a gang member being targeted by the police, right?
I guess you're right.
Or was she looking to just capitalize on the death?
I mean, maybe she was trying to protect the gang members from unruly cops, but sounds like they were up to some mischief.
Was it 14 arrests?
Yeah.
How many unruly cops did it take for that? All right. Separate from the gang members, 42-year-old Christina Lopez faces felony charges of... Oh, I read that part. God dang. Fresno County District Attorney Lisa Smitkamp said Christina Lopez was buying guns for her 14-year-old son. Lopez's defense attorney says she can account for all the purchases from the settlement money. That's not good. She has continued now to take the money from her settlement that she received from the city of Fresno to buy a home where she lives, in addition to spending thousands of dollars on guns that she has in turn given to... Come on. You don't buy guns, plural, for your son. 14-year-old son.
Yeah, this woman has some issues.
It's more than issues. Is this the woman, Christina Lopez?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's her. That's her. So where's the son? Lopez. Oh, her son was arrested?
I don't know if he got arrested.
But like that, there's
14.
no way that she didn't know, okay? So what do you think of that when she knowingly took $4.9 million from the city?
Uses it to spend thousands of dollars giving guns to her 14-year-old son.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't seem like the smartest parenting decision.
Isn't that the understatement of the year? All right. Christina Lopez's son was reportedly wrapped up in gang activity involving the July murder. Authorities say he gave the other members of the Kalwa gang the firearms his mother bought for him. That's the end of the article. All right.
There's no way she didn't know that
There's
he
no
was
way.
giving. Yeah.
No
14-year-old needs more than one gun or even should have a gun.
Going back to my friend who was in gang culture growing up, there's a certain mentality to the gang itself where they think of themselves as neighborhood protection.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're very community minded. It's like this turf belongs to this gang and this turf belongs to this gang. Now they're gonna make business, illegal drugs and whatnot, business in this area, but they're concerned about their community, and that's how they think. They almost think of it themselves as a neighborhood watch.
Like the mafia.
Sure.
They're there to protect you from bureaucrats.
Well, the bureaucrats are one thing. I don't like the bureaucrats, but like, would you rather be ruled by bureaucrats or warlords?
Probably bureaucrats.
Really? Well, I'm not saying there's a good answer. I'm saying like I think you probably gave the better answer, but like, imagine your life if every decision was made by bureaucrats. Now imagine your life if every decision was made by a local warlord.
I just feel like I have a little bit more control in the bureaucratic situation.
I don't think you have as much control. I don't think it's about control.
You have no control on the warlords.
True.
You
but
might have some influence in the...
What if I give it my son? What if I
Here's
give
my
up?
finest daughter.
Oh no, I'm not giving up my daughter. I know what that leads to. You fucking
What if-
animal. You kidding me?
What if he wants it?
Oh.
As your payment.
That's true. The bureaucrat's not going to come after my daughter. But I think you're kind of screwed either way in that kind of community, aren't you? If that was your choices between extreme bureaucracy or extreme like gang warfare, warlord.
Well, that's the thing is like a lot of these people that grow up in this area feel like they have no other route to go.
But you could do a better haircut at least, right? No, you're absolutely right. So that's the one thing that's a little weird to me, though. And let me tell you what I'm thinking. So Mexican gangs confuse me a little more than black gangs.
Really?
Yeah, because, okay, so here's what I've always thought about gangs. So a lot of gang kids, shouldn't say gang members or kids. A lot of the kids get involved in the gangs because they're looking for a sense of family, or they're looking for a sense of masculinity and guidance from a father figure. Now, the black fatherhood rate in this country, as anyone knows, is abysmal. So it makes sense that they're going to gravitate towards gangs. The Mexican gang culture doesn't make as much sense to me, really, because Mexican families, statistically speaking, are actually very stable. Families do stick together, so why join gangs? You have a family. So the black kids are joining gangs because they feel like they don't have a sense of family or community.
Maybe
But Mexican kids, they have a family. Usually they have but then at the same time maybe they all are involved in the gang. I don't know. But it's confusing to me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just not a family thing. It's just it's a poverty thing.
Well, why do you think someone joins a gang?
Because fit in, maybe also
Well, you just said it.
to fit in.
Well, I mean, but that ties in more to what I was saying than what you just said. They're looking for bonds.
It kind of
As opposed to poverty, I could just simply say, hey, I'm poor, I need the money, I'm going to join a gang. As opposed to they're looking to have a sort of a community, a family. I think that is probably, to me, that's at least the answer. They're looking
maybe
for
just a way of living, you know.
But yeah, okay, but what do you think it is between what do you think drives gang membership more? A sense of belonging or a sense of money? It gets them ahead.
I think it's more the. I think it's kind of belonging, but it's also kind of like a peer pressure. Like, you know, they want to feel belonging, but maybe they don't want to join the gang. But because they've had so many other friends or family also join the gang, they feel like they have to kind of take the same path.
Yeah, but that's the sense of belonging I'm talking about. I think they seek out those familial bonds in gangs.
I do think it's more of a poverty thing, though.
It could be poverty.
Let's go like gang membership by country GDP.
Well, let's go just by state GDP. West Virginia is statistically the poorest state in the country.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a rich
neo-Nazis.
gang culture. Are there neo-Nazis in West Virginia?
I don't know. It's actually the problem with West Virginia is that it has
There's a lot of drug
like
addicts.
a declining population.
It is one of the it's a declining population for sure, but like West Virginia is I've looked into this recently. West Virginia is statistically the poorest state in the country. It's also got a relatively low crime rate. I'm serious.
Yeah, it's an interesting state.
It's an outlier. I actually graphed the whole thing because I was curious because everyone says crime and poverty, they're related. And then you look at it and there's a little bit of a correlation there, not much. But like West Virginia is a huge fucking outlier. It's the poorest state, but it has a very low crime rate. So it's weird, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's because the average age is so much older.
Could be. That's a good point.
As you get older, you commit less crimes.
Yeah, it's usually young males, like ages 14 to 22, some 24. I don't know.
Yeah.
That age group. If you can get rid of all the males between 14 and 24, you're good. You're good. Golden.
China failed to do that.
All right, we're gonna move on to our last story. I gotta take a quick piss break, and I gotta refill my drink.
Tie game.
Oh yeah, really?
Yep.
Okay, I got a friend who's a Steelers fan. I'll rub it in. All right. All right, we're moving on to our last topic for the day. And once again, if you like these videos and you want to keep us in check, please hit the like button, subscribe, and then comment why you hate the video, and we'll correct it.
Please.
Please. All right. So this last one is coming from Sora News, the very reputable source. You can now rent fat people in Japan. This is not something I thought we'd talk about.
Now, why do you think people need to rent fat people?
Smother fetishes.
Cuddles? Heat? Warmth?
Cuddles are good. That's a good answer. I don't know. Well, but do you have to have one reason to want a fat person?
They're generally more like jolly people.
Santa Claus.
Yeah.
We don't make Santa Claus fat for nothing. All right. A new company seeks to change the image of being overweight in Japanese society. Now, okay, before we even get into the article, something I have learned from talking to a lot of Asian people, fat is really fucking, like, they really don't like fat people. Now, there's probably a cultural norm throughout the world where it's kind of anti-fat, but like Asian cultures in particular, it's really frowned upon.
Really?
Yeah.
I know generally I think Asian people are the skinniest, but I thought that was more of a food thing.
I think it's more seafood and less processed
Diet.
foods and meat, red meat.
Yeah.
But not even that. Like, yeah. So, like, I also remember reading an article where it kind of, well, it's not so much reading as it showed a bunch of photos. It seeked to sort of map the ideal body for every cultural perfection for women. So, like, you know, like they showed what the ideal American body for a woman would be, and what the ideal Colombian body for a woman would be, in French or in Italian or Norwegian or whatever. And what I remembered is they're all more or less the same, except for China. Is what I remembered vividly as I was watching them. So the ideal body for all these other women around the world is curves. It's big breasts, big wide hips, big ass, kind of narrow waist. But in China, it was almost straight, flat, and thin. It was almost boyish.
Yeah, I think I've heard like the Chinese ideal is more like a pure complexion almost.
Oh, yeah, well, skin color has a lot to do with it, too.
Yeah, more symmetrical, which is supposed to be the number one key to attractiveness, is having a more symmetrical face for both men and women.
What would you take, curves on a body or symmetrical face?
I'm not taking no halibut, lady.
All right. Answer received. Okay. But I do think there is a cultural thing in Asia where it's like it's frowned upon to be fat. Much more
like
than the United States.
It's like a novelty. There's not as many fat people, so they have to go out of their way to rent one.
Maybe. Bring a fat person to your party. You know, it's like how in America everyone has one black friend. Everyone has one fat friend in Japan.
A black friend.
Yeah, everyone has one black friend. Like, it's like, I'm not a racist. I have a black friend. But like in Japan, maybe it's like I'm not fat phobic. I have a fat friend. And they bring the fat friend to the party.
Are you seeing these other rent-a-services that they mentioned?
No, let's get into it. So one of the more unusual industries to appear in Japan in recent years is a rent-a-person business. There were a rent-a-middle-aged dude, rent-a-sister services. What the fuck? We tried out, for example, and now comes a new innovation, a company that will let you rent a fat person.
So this is not just a fat person thing, it sounds like. It's more of a Japanese thing.
Why are they renting people? What possible motive could they have?
Well, Japanese people can be very secluded, right?
You think this is a friendship thing? Like
It
a
could be
loneliness?
maybe a lack of friends, community, and so they rent these people.
But why choose friends based on something novel like a fat? Like, I have to have a fat friend?
And maybe they want to know what it's like.
Maybe that'd be an interesting
Rent
kind of...
a middle-aged dude.
But, like, do you think that, like, people in general are getting lonelier?
That could very well be happening in Japan.
Not in Japan, but just, like, in the West, too. But, like, in the world. Like, do you think in the developed world, people are more isolated, right?
Especially the last year.
Good point. But, like, do you think that could be a legitimate business model? Renting friends?
It seems like,
Could that be
better than owning a fat person, right?
I want to know if that's a legitimate
Maybe this
business.
is just like, it's like slavery, but acceptable.
It's not slavery. What if it's like you're getting paid a wage, but like the goal is you just hang out with a person? Go to a ball game with this person. Like, it's like an escort business, but for friends, and you get to choose your fat friend.
Rent a friend.
I don't know. But like, could that be a business model in the future, do you think? Renting a friend.
Japan's trying to find out for us here.
Once again, they mentioned the fat part, though.
All right. Why rent his sister?
Why do you rent a fat person?
It's not your sister.
We should point out that the fat designation comes from a company itself, which is called Dubukari? From the Japanese word
Debukari?
Debukari?
Yeah.
I don't know. From the Japanese word debu, fat, and kairu, rent. Debukaru, or
Oh, you can choose your tiers of obeseness, too.
shit, man. 100 kilograms or 220 pounds, but they also have the over 125 or over 150 kilogram classes.
Maybe you don't like the,
Is there a commercial?
They're also happy. This is an actual commercial.
That's the commercial.
It seems like propaganda.
Okay, I don't speak Japanese, but even if I did, I don't think I learned a single thing.
They just kept repeating the company name.
Fat rent,
Yeah.
which is not something you want to hear on your rent day.
No. They do make a distinction, though. This isn't some sort of sex thing.
I hope so. Another important point is that debukari is not a romantic escort, erotic entertainment, or otherwise titillating service. Aw. The company states that its goal is to promote progression away from an era where fat is a negative image.
So it does kind of come to that kind of cultural thing.
Do you think I remember hearing something about like the Middle East is having a obesity crisis. But not
Really?
Japan. Yeah. I can't remember the exact country. I think it was this is going to bother me because I think it was Syria or Lebanon. I can't remember. Maybe it was the UAE. But like there was one of the fastest growing obesity rates in the world is like a Middle Eastern country. And that's because like ever since the war in Iraq in 2003, American fast food enterprises have been moving in and bringing fast food, which is just cancerous to the body. Because the food's so good, because shit, I can say Taco Bell is bad for me, but it tastes like fucking like crack. Not that I've had crack, but it's good. I enjoy it. But like, yeah, there's an obesity crisis. I think it's Lebanon. Where there's
Lebanon. Okay.
I think where there's an obesity crisis. Like it's one of the fastest growing obesity rates in the world.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just find it interesting that Japan has a particularly negative image of fat people just because this is the land of sumo.
I thought you were going to mention that at some point. Yes. Sumo. No, it's a good point. But like sumo wrestlers are revered. But like how much of sumo wrestling is really fat? Really? You know, like offensive linemen for the NFL?
It's just space.
Well, like think about offensive linemen for the NFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's sumo wrestling.
Pretty
It's
much.
pushing.
I mean, you look at those guys after retirement; they all get skinny.
Yeah, they all do. What was his name? Joe Thomas. Joe Thomas is someone who was like one of the best offensive linemen in the game. 2 years after he retired, he was skinny.
Yeah.
Because it's so I don't think it's so much that sumo wrestling is just fat. I think sumo wrestling is actually a lot more muscle than we realize. It's just like in order to generate all the power it takes to be a sumo wrestler or an offensive lineman, you got to eat a lot of fucking calories. So yeah, you're gonna be big. You're gonna be
Do
fat.
you think these sumo wrestlers get skinny after they retire?
That's a fucking good question. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, there's a lot of muscle there, but there's also a little bit more. I think they put a little more weight into it than the.
Do you think you can
NFL
take
players.
like the World of Warcraft guy from South Park, the one who sits on his fucking butt and just plays World of Warcraft and eats like Doritos all day and Red Bull?
Yeah.
You think like you could take that guy and make him a sumo wrestler? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
I think height is a big thing
I
too.
thought you're making this more than this. There's actual training that goes into sumo wrestling.
It's an actual sport.
It's an actual sport with actual like physical talent, muscle.
I know one or two people that are actually kind of into it. Watching
Really?
it, yeah.
Watching
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But I think like the fat is more like a byproduct of building that kind of body. I don't think it's the goal is just to become a fat guy. I think like because I look at offensive linemen and those people are huge, a lot of muscle, but they're also fat.
Not as fat.
Okay, well, I'm gonna bring up two pictures. We're gonna look at them.
Average sumo wrestler weight.
I'm just gonna put up offensive lineman and sumo wrestler, and we're gonna like just compare pictures. Okay, well that guy's big. Holy shit, that guy's big. That guy's not so big. That guy's huge. Okay, this guy is like I think an offensive lineman size. Look at that! Look at the gut.
Maybe. Yeah, some of them. Some of them, you know, got some pot bellies.
Offensive lineman versus sumo.
Yes.
Yeah!
Sumo.
That's what I want to see. Sumo wrestler and bodybuilder. Who would you win? Who would you pick in this?
In an arm wrestling match?
Yeah.
I might pick the NFL guy.
I'm going to pick the sumo wrestler because I think if you ever compare like power lifters versus bodybuilders, I think power lifters are usually fat. Seriously. And they're usually the strongest. Not everyone looks like the Mountain. Here we go. What's his name? Fucking Thor. Bjorn.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, they don't look like that. Oh, this guy's actually, he's small. He's trimmed down. That's more like him.
Yeah, he's
that's
lost a lot of weight.
that's
That's the mountain. That's the hill.
that guy is. Yeah, this is the hill. This is the mountain. Look at that dude. And he's like 6'9", 6'10". He's fucking huge.
Huge. Yeah.
All right. So why does Deb Bakari think someone might want to rent a heavyset person? This is the question. For commercial clients, they say that they can bring plus-size models and extras for photo shoots and TV film.
Interesting. So you rent the person for the photo shoots. They're almost like models.
It's a model
not
agency.
friends.
It's a model agency. That's all it is.
Okay. Interesting.
However, individuals who can also rent a Debu person for personal, non-business purposes with Deb Bakari suggesting uses including. I want help
eating a crazy large portion.
That would be a good reason to bring up.
Can we rent a person here?
You go to like a food competition, you know, like where they have like those like if you eat it, you can get a free meal. Bring this dude along.
Pay you to eat my leftovers. I don't want to take him home.
Which is actually not even true because if you look at the best competitive eaters of all time, they're usually skinny guys.
I know. It's the metabolism or something. I don't know.
Well, here's what I've heard. What a lot of these eating, first off, it's more damning on the body than we realize. So they have to be in good shape. But two, the key to being a good competitive eater is the night before your competition. What you do is you just eat vegetables You eat nothing but like broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, vegetables until you're
ton
full.
of fiber.
Well, it's not the fiber. The idea is that like if you basically fill your stomach so it stretches out the lining of your stomach as far as it can go, but little calories. So the next day you're super hungry and the stomach is expanded so you can fit more in.
Interesting. I've never heard that.
Yeah, that was
I knew there was some strategy to it.
But seriously, if you're gonna try one of those eating competitions, like maybe like a restaurant's personal giveaway, the night before you go there, just eat nothing but vegetables until you're full. And that stretches out the lining of the stomach so it has the maximum capacity, but you didn't consume that many calories, so you're really hungry.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, second commercial.
Oh.
Woke up this morning and rubbed my eyes. Took me a second.
This doesn't make it seem romantic at all.
I'm still the same man I was yesterday. See, I made a promise to myself to make a change and better myself, but I don't feel any difference, and that's a shame.
What is this?
This is a commercial for fat people.
They need him to try on clothes?
Oh, wow. Look at that cheese. Oh, nice.
This seems enjoyable. I'd rent the fat.
Because everyone would want a fat boyfriend to take out as an escort.
$19 an hour. That's not unreasonable.
Dubakari charges 2,000 yen or $19 an hour for non-business use rentals, with the entire fee being paid to the heavyset person.
Ah, good for them. So they make all their money from business to business, you know.
What would you want to do with a fat person? If you could contact Dubakari and
I would want someone to play on the seesaw with me.
Or the blob, you know, like the water thing. Get more airtime. Yeah, that's what you do. That's good. Good answer.
Use them for ASMR.
ASMR?
Yeah, make those noises that make me go to sleep.
Jesus Christ. All right. Well, shoot. I don't have any reason to rent a fat person, but I'm curious.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah.
So.
Don't want to find yourself in a situation where you got a ton of food left over. And, you know.
Once again, like, why not just take the leftovers? Why is that a big deal?
What if it was more expensive to take him from the buffet at carryouts than it was to rent the person to just eat the rest of it?
Ooh. You go to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and this guy gets your money worth. But you're still paying him $19 an hour to do it. So I don't know how it works out, but...
Yeah, it's just the cost ratio. It depends on how much... It's usually like weight-based when you go to the buffet, right? If you're going to take it out.
But also, okay, yeah, it is. But no, I mean, like the buffet I went to is really just an all-inclusive package. You just buy one meal, and then you can buy as much as you can get. I think that we're exaggerating how much fat people can eat. Do they eat a lot? Yes. But does that mean that they necessarily they can eat more? No. My brother is one of the skinniest people I know, but he also is the best eater I know. He ate a 24-egg omelet once.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And he is in good shape, and he's skinny, so that lets you know that it's not all just... You don't look at a fat guy and just... I don't, at least, look at a fat guy and say, that guy can eat more. I think there's more to it than that.
I see the type of things you eat, obviously.
Timing is everything. My brother is kind of one of those guys who's, if there's an eating challenge out there in the city of Seattle, he wants to do it.
Has he done the biggest bowl of pho? I think they have that in the
I think he
international
has,
district.
actually. I think he has.
That's something I'd want to try.
Mick, my brother, sorry, I used his name. He definitely likes all the eating challenges. I think one time I remember watching a video that he did, like it was a 20, 30-minute video he live streamed, where he ate 4 large hamburgers, a plate of tater tots, and a pitcher of beer, and he ate it all.
Wow.
Yeah, my brother's a good eater. I remember growing up with him. Like, we'd have competitions with each other. Who can eat more waffles in the morning? I mean, my parents probably go.
I did talk to my coworkers about the waffle pancake debate.
Oh, what did they have to
They're
say?
both waffle.
Fuck.
I know.
Ah.
Karen, you're the only person I met that's chosen pancakes.
Well, let's get Param on the podcast. I want to fucking have this
Come on,
debate.
Aaron, you bastard.
Maybe he's one of our subscribers. Remember, we've added 3 in the last month. 3.
It's kind of dumb YouTube doesn't show you who's subscribed.
It doesn't, yeah. I just have to assume. No, but like we're getting subscribers, and I'm happy with it. Let's continue I'll try to bring on more guests. We've been doing this podcast now for...
Not a guest in a while, so...
We haven't done a guest in a while. I love the guests. If Jeremy wants to come on again, let's bring him on.
Yeah, he's down.
Okay. Anyone who wants to come back on, even our previous guest, Austin, my anarchist friend, I'd love to have him back on because I think the last time we brought him on, we just talked about education. I'd want to talk to him about his anarchy philosophy. That'd be good.
More about that.
Yeah, learn more about that. All right. Any closing thoughts you have?
Go see Tom Segura's newest I'm Coming Everywhere